All right, perfect. We're live on Facebook. Welcome, everyone. My name is Numair Shahzada, and I am the marketing manager at the NIC. I will also be your host today, leading you through the activities we have planned. This is NIC's Cohort 10 Open House Information Sharing Session. The purpose of this session is to give you all the insights into the program, the offerings of the NIC. We're also going to have two very exciting, power-packed panel discussions so you can hear it from our partners as well as our startups. And we have one of our mentors joining us as well. So thank you for joining. Let's talk about some of the reasons why startups, because startups work towards solving commonly shared problems. And before we get into some of the other things, I will be sharing with you the answers to some frequently asked questions. But before that, let's look at some of the challenges right now, real quick. Some of the challenges are mobility, climate change. We need more payment solutions. Automation in the workplace has become important ever since the digital revolution, especially the push that's come after COVID. Education, agriculture, and these are just some of the challenges we're facing on a national and global scale. And if you have a startup and you're working on what you believe is a challenge for all mankind, for a specific community, do make sure to apply for incubation at the NIC. Today, you'll be finding some more information about what that entails. Some quick questions we usually get, thought it would be best to touch on them right at the start. So does NIC offer any funding? So we don't directly offer any funding, but we get you in touch with the relevant stakeholders. We have an investor community. We have network abroad and in Pakistan, and we give you a chance to meet the people who can help you take your startup further, to scale up. Will we provide co-working space in the current situation? So the current program is a hybrid incubation program, which means that this is being run virtually in any case. So if you're joining from another city, even from another country. So how will we be running our curriculum sessions? Our curriculum sessions are being run virtually, but as the situation improves and on occasion, on a divided basis, we are testing, letting startups into the facility, and let's hope things ease and we can get back to normal very soon. But if you have joined virtually from another country, you can be assured that you will be able to continue attending classes virtually, even if we resume in-house activities. Thank you. What are the criteria to apply for the program? So it's not necessary for you to have any educational background. There's no age limit. And Zan will be touching more on some of the criteria in our application form near the end of the session. So if you just have an idea, are you eligible for the program? The current incubation program that's available, Cohort 10, is a 6-month fast-track incubation program, which is ideally suited to startups that have achieved MVP, have found a business solution fit, or can validate their idea through some kind of research or data. What will happen after you submit your online form? All our applications are reviewed by an expert panel of judges, after which the final startups are selected. It is a thorough application selection process, so please do make sure to do your best with your form. Give all the information that is required. This is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and you'll be sure to scale up your startup. So if you're not from Islamabad, indeed, you can join, and the NIC does not charge for this incubation program. Moving on. The NIC is a project funded by Ignite, the National Technology Fund, and managed by Jazz through Team Up. Some pictures, a little look at the NIC. We have a fantastic co-working space, 200 plus seats. It's the largest incubation center in Pakistan. We have hundreds of mentors locally and globally. At this current point, we have 209 startups as part of our alumni. This is a place where dreamers, creatives come together. There's a fantastic energy. And the NIC is working towards taking Pakistan to the next stage. Our unicorn founders, Pervez and Zohair, you'll get a chance to meet them momentarily. Let me just give you a look at some of the big numbers. The 209 startups that I told you, 77% of which are still active. We have 461 startup founders collectively. 21% of that is female founders. And this even rivals some of the numbers coming out of international incubation centers. And we hope to grow this number. So if you are a female founder, be sure to apply and help us take this percentage up. We've taught several hours of curriculum. It's very thorough and it's very specific and suited to your requirements. Mentoring and coaching. Our startups go on to create many jobs, which is something we're very proud of. And then there's a snowball effect. So then there are indirect jobs that come out of that as well. The investment committed has been 1.23 billion PKR and revenue earned 1.42 billion PKR, making an impact. Some look at our program. It's a hybrid program, so you'll see some things are happening virtually, and then there are a lot of things that happen in-house as well. So let's talk about Zohair and Pervez, our unicorn founders. It's been 4 years with the NIC, and it's had a huge impact. They'll be shedding a little more light on that. So Zohair Saab is a co-founder and partner Team Up, which is the managing arm of the National Incubation Center. Zohair was a key part of the launch team at Mobilink. Many people know who he is, but if you don't, then that's a fact for you. He's currently on the Prime Minister's Task Force for IT and Telecom, part of several advisory boards, on the board for several educational institutes in the UK. Pervez Abbasi Saab is currently the project director at the National Incubation Center. He's a telecom veteran as well with diverse experience in corporate, strategic, operational, and entrepreneurship, more than almost 30 years working in Europe, Middle East, Asia. I'm sorry, Pervez Saab, if I made you sound too old there. He was the director and chief executive of Mobile Zone, which I'm sure you've heard of, those stickers on all our phones, largest handset distributor in Pakistan. He's playing a key role in connecting the Pakistani diaspora with Pakistan, as is Zohair Saab, of course. And he leads us, he takes us to where we want to go, both of them, Zohair Saab and Pervez Saab, welcome. And Zohair Saab, would you like to go first? Let's hear it from you. What is the vision and what are some of the things you'd like to share with our guests today?
Sure. Thanks very much, Noor. A very warm welcome to all of our guests today who are participating. Of course, this is just the beginning of the journey. We're very fortunate to have had the privilege to work with literally hundreds and sometimes thousands of startup founders over the course of the last many years. It's been a wonderful learning experience for us, and we hope that we can accumulate that learning experience, both our own individual collective experiences, as well as the experiences that we've had with the founders, and also help them to grow their businesses. I think before we get into the details, I know you've summarized them. I think it's important just to get a little bit of background. And, you made me sound old, but somebody who's a little bit older than me, I would request him to share how this idea came into being and what was the thought process behind it. And we can take it forward from there. Zohair.
Gee, thank you, Pervez. Thank you, Numair. Welcome to the open house, everybody. It's something that is now becoming sort of fairly routine for us to say so. But about 5 years ago, Pervez and I, both sitting in London in a coffee shop, were thinking, what is it that we can do for our people back home? Both of us were happily going through our careers, coming to the end of those, and thinking, what can we do to give back? And over the course of many coffees, over many days, the idea came to us that we wanted to maybe start looking at incubating and guiding entrepreneurs in Pakistan in the technology field. Collectively, Parvez and I kind of bring about something like 60 to 70 years of collective technology and telecom experience to the table. Parvez will have you believe most of it was mine, but I think he's just being modest. He has some of it as well. But more importantly, I think what happened was at that time, the government of Pakistan also was looking at something along the lines of incubation. As they say, the universe smiles on those who want to do something good. And Alhamdulillah, with a lot of effort at the time and a lot of running around, we won the bid for the RFP for the National Incubation Center. And as I say, the last 4 years have been kind of history, really. What is very exciting for us now, 4 years later, is that when we started this, there was a handful of private sector incubators in the country at the time. But the word startup, the word entrepreneurship were still things people didn't understand quite well. The ecosystem itself was very, very nascent, nothing much happening. But now, 4 years later, things have become extremely exciting because not only people understand what is a startup now, what is an entrepreneur, but more importantly, there are now something like 83 incubators around the country of different shapes and varieties in many, many different cities. More importantly, there's something like almost 20 venture capital funds who are focused on investing in startups and their businesses, which is 20 more than there were 4 years ago. With a lot of effort over the last couple of years, with our national investor summits, the investor roundtables that we are now becoming very well known for, we, I think, would like to think that we have been paid a little part in influencing policy at the government level. The SECP today has a completely separate legislation now for startups, as opposed to nothing maybe 2 years ago. The State Bank of Pakistan recently launched a very, very exciting new fintech platform, if you will, called RAST, which we'll talk about a bit more later on. But again, it just is a testament to the fact that digital Pakistan is finally beginning to happen. And what is digital Pakistan? Digital Pakistan is all of you guys out there with the capacity to digitize almost any kind of business in Pakistan today. And particularly, I get very excited when people talk about agri-tech and health tech and ed tech as some of the businesses. E-commerce is happening on a grand level right now. Fintech is really, skyrocketing in potential in Pakistan. What is fantastic is that in the last 5 years, despite a lot of naysaying, over $200 million have been invested in startups in the country. 77 million of those have been invested in 2020, which is, despite the COVID situation, that has been probably one of the highest yearly figures out there, which I believe it's 97% more than the previous year. So all of that bodes really well for aspiring entrepreneurs, especially in the technology field, who are taking Pakistan to the next stage of its growth. And I do believe that with 220 million people, 170 million of them connected on a mobile connection, almost 85 million now have access to 3G, 4G, and broadband internet on a wireless basis. There is a huge potential here. If you look at those numbers, they're not small. 85 million 3G, 4G users is like 1.5 times the population of the United Kingdom or France or Germany individually. So just look at the potential that we have as young entrepreneurs step forward and start digitizing sometimes just normal businesses that can then have an amazing impact on people across the country. And the wonderful thing about digital technology is that often enough, it's low cost, it reaches a higher number of people, and it enables people to, let's say, get better healthcare, better education, be more efficient in their agriculture, be smarter with their e-commerce, with their shopping, and the sky is the limit at this stage. And what I would really want all of you to come forward with is amazing ideas where we can then work with you, hopefully share some of our experiences and knowledge. And we have a fantastic, wonderful team of people who will be there to support you in marketing, in business planning, in financial matters, in corporate matters, legal matters, and so on, where we can help build that business with you and help together to build the future of Pakistan. So I'm looking forward to your questions. I'm looking forward to meeting you guys, inshallah, as things get a little bit better with COVID. And with that, I'll hand it back to Numair. Thank you.
Golden
Numair,
words.
say a couple of words to the audience. Thanks very much. I wanted to say that I'm sure there are going to be a million questions and people are listening in and thinking, that's great stuff, but what does it really mean to me? How will this impact me as an individual or my startup? And there are 2 or 3 things that I would like to share with them at this stage. First and foremost is that all of the startups and the statistics that we've shared are actually on our website. And there's also an app as well. So I would encourage you, go to the website, find those startup founders who were with us in our previous cohorts, reach out to them and ask them, how was their experience? So that's an independent view that you will get. And secondly, all of the numbers that they've shared, and each startup has a different need. Our experience has been is that, if you don't ask, you don't get. So there's a lot of effort and onus on yourselves. I would encourage you to apply. And, I often say this, that what do you have to lose by applying? Absolutely nothing, right? But what do you have to gain? I can share with you that if you make it into the NIC program, you will definitely have an advantage over other startups. There's no 2 ways about it. Not only the access to the funding, which is one small part of it, I think access to domain experts and the mentoring that you can get and the networking opportunities you can get are phenomenal. And lastly, I would say that you will miss 100% of the shots you don't take. What do you have to lose? I often see that even in the application process, and especially during the interview process, a lot of high quality feedback is given to the startup founders who may otherwise not have access to those mentors and those domain experts. And even if they don't make it to the final selected candidates, at least they'll have the opportunity to get that great feedback from the domain experts and the mentors. So I would encourage you, think about it simply. What do you have to lose? Apply. And I hope that inshallah, we get to see you soon at the National Incubation Center. Thank you very much, Numair.
Wonderful. More golden words. And to add to what Zohair and Pervez have just shared with you, 59% of the investment deals made between 2015 and 2020 happened from a startup that was associated with an incubator or accelerator. So that goes to show how much value you can get. The NIC is an award-winning facility, and we're looking forward to sharing more details. You're going to get to meet a mentor in one of our panels, and you'll also get to hear it from 1 or 2 of our startups. All right, let's head on to our first panel of the day. So this is going to be a good one. We've got Anam Iqbal, Program Associate at the NIC, moderating this. And we have with us Zishan, Ali Rizvi, and Ehsan Lahi. I'll hand over to Anam, who can take it from here. Anam, thank you.
Thank you, Numair, for introducing me and the wonderful panel that we're going to have next. So we've talked about the impact that NIC has made over the years, and how the ecosystem has matured over the years. So let's ask our program manager, Zishan, how has NIC helped the startups to gain such greatness?
Zishan, I believe your mic might be on mute. Can you check, please?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Numair. Thank you, Anam. So welcome everyone for this open house. Thank you for joining us. so NIC is, as Zohair Saab and Pervez have also mentioned previously in opening remarks as well, has created a great impact over the years. And that impact has been possible with the help that we've offered to the startups over the years. And over the years, we've evolved our program to what you are currently, you can see on our screen. So first of all, we offer a creative co-working space to all the startups who are part of our incubation or acceleration program. So this is, if you haven't got the chance to visit NIC yet, I suggest you visit as soon as possible, because this is a state-of-the-art co-working space like no other space in Islamabad or any other co-working space. But space is just a very small part of what NIC offers or what any incubator or accelerator would offer you. What's most important is mentoring and coaching that we offer, the kind of mentors that we have on our panel who would be willing to put in hours and a lot of effort to help you with your startup, to help you with your startup journey. Then on top of that, we have a very custom designed curriculum for you. When we say curriculum, it's basically, we try to fill in the gaps that you have in your skill set or among your resources, right? So we try to take you through best practices of market, legal practices. We get you information about IPO. We take you through, we help you with improving your business model, et cetera, et cetera. So this is what we offer in our custom design curriculum. And this is it's not a general curriculum that we offer. So what we do is that our team would sit with each and every one of you, have a discussion with you, find out what are the strengths, what are the key strengths, what are the weak areas, and then we help you over the course of journey to focus on those weak areas and improve those. We try to take care of those particular areas with you. Then our team, it's a very diverse team. We have in-house resources of design, marketing, finance, technology, and legal support who would work with you over the course of your journey over here, who would offer you specialized resources in each of these domains. And all of us are very helpful. We all love working with startups. You could come to us anytime for any help. And then we also offer commercialization and industrial linkages to the startups, which is very important. Networking is one very important part of NIC. You get to meet a lot of people. You get to meet a lot of connections by being part of different NIC communities as well. And then one of a very important aspect of what we offer is access to investors and grant opportunities. So if in case you haven't, Pervez also mentioned about our website, in case you haven't visited yet, please do visit and see the numbers. NIC has helped startups raise about 1.4 billion PKR in investment so far, which is a huge number, by the way, considering the ecosystem that when we started working in this ecosystem. So this is a huge number. On top of that, there are other grant opportunities that we would keep informing you or help you in applying with. And we hold, after every 2 or 3 months, we hold this investor summit as well, where investors from all over Pakistan would come over and listen to your pitches, and you can ask them for investment. So these are some of the core offerings. In addition to that, we have Jazz Accelerated Advantage, which I believe my colleague Ali Reza would later shed more light on.
Thank you, Zishan, for explaining all that we offer. A common misperception is that entrepreneurs think कि हमें rent-free space मिल जाएगी तो हम NIC आ जाए. So what exactly, could you please explain what exactly are we looking for in terms of the startups to be inducted in cohort 10?
So for this particular, this is a little different cohort that we're opening up. So in terms of the stage of startups that we're looking for, so it's not for the startups who are merely at idea stage, right? Who just have a business idea by now. So we're looking for people who've already put some wheels into motion. right? So if you have MVP or if you're a growth stage startup, then this is what we're looking for. You've already generated some sort of evidence that the startup is scalable. So we're looking for that kind of startups for this particular cohort.
Okay, great. Thank you, Zishan. Like you mentioned, Jazz Accelerate also supports our startup. So Ali Rizvi is here with us. I'd like to request Ali to please share what exactly is the Jazz Accelerate advantage that we all talk about.
Thank you so much, Anam, for inviting me for this open house session. And I believe that a lot of people over here, some of them have a startup background. Kuch ke paas jo hai, I mean, they're thinking of starting their own business. So I'll start from the basics and then talk about a little bit about the Jazz Accelerate program as well. So basically, किसी भी startup का they've got a startup life cycle journey that they go through, which starts from ideation, and from ideation then it goes to validation, and validation से फिर वो incubation, and incubation के बाद acceleration stage के ऊपर जाते हैं. So I mean that's the traditional. अगर आप कोई startup का path अगर कोई कहे कि what's the traditional startup path, I mean that's the trajectory that a lot of startups take. Through the National Incubation Center, Zishan and Numair and Zuhair and Parvez Saab have highlighted the impact of incubation and how the National Incubation Center supports the startups to develop a robust product and solution that they can later on scale. Through the Jazz Accelerate program, what we're primarily looking for is those startups that have developed their minimum viable product and they're ready to scale their product or service. That's where Jazz Accelerate comes in. It's a very tailored program, so we deal with startups on a very individual level, and we first carry out a needs assessment where we try and understand what the problems and challenges are and how we can solve or help that particular startup. Under the Jazz Accelerate program, what we provide are skill-based digital trainings, which include design thinking workshops, which include support in user interface and user experience design. We also offer need-based mentorships with different subject matter experts at Jazz. Along with that, we also provide access to anonymized data through which startups can then target their potential customers. We also offer payment integrations through Jazz Cash, and that's not only limited to payment integrations, but they also have other solutions which include collections and disbursements. Then we offer marketing and digital marketing support, and along with that, there are also distribution packages. What we're also looking for in startups is that if we see there's a startup that has a brilliant idea and they can potentially partner with Jazz, that's something that we're completely open to as well. And in the past, we've seen that some of our alumni startups have now officially partnered with Jazz, and they're offering joint solutions to our enterprise clients. And hopefully you'd be hearing a big success story coming out of that partnership as well. Along with these benefits, we also offer startup credits. So startup credits ka kya fayda hota hai? I mean, let's say you've got a digital product aapne koi banaya hua and you want to scale that product or service. There are a lot of startup services or startup tools that you'd need. Let's say, for example, for analytics, you might require Mixpanel. For cloud credits, you might require Amazon, or you might want to build your product on the Amazon platform. So we've negotiated these different startup deals up to $1.3 million, and these are offered to Jazz Accelerate startups as well. Along with this, we also offer support in terms of sending startups every year to the Jazz Accelerate startups every year to the 4 years from now at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. So that's this largest startup event in Europe. And the objective is to provide, access and opportunities to our startups and create those global linkages as well. So this is just an overview. I'd also like to briefly talk about, some of the startups that we're working with, which include Mocha Online. Mocha Online has completely digitized their payments to their workers, and they're using our Jazz Cash disbursement solution to pay their workers. We're also in talks with EasyBike or Roma Technologies, which is one of our alumni startups. We were helping them, enabling them to use Jazz Cash digital payments, and along with that also enable some kiosks within the Jazz office as well. We're also working with another alumni startup to to basically install their solutions with our enterprise clients and also at the Jazz office as well. So, I mean, in terms of the benefit, we really work very closely with the startups in order to help them scale. And so this is just an overview of the Jazz Accelerate program. And if you guys have any questions, just feel free to let me know.
Thank you, Ali, for explaining in so much detail and sharing all these success stories. Mauka Online is one of my favorite startups. I use their services personally, so kudos to you. I also ask you, startups ko Jazz Accelerate helps so much, but what does Jazz Accelerate get out of it? Are there any fees attached? Are there any charges? Could you please elaborate on that too?
Yeah, so generally globally एक trend ये होता है कि accelerators या incubators they take an equity stake in the startups, but that's not the case with Jazz Accelerate. We don't take any equity, so this program is completely equity free. It's completely offered free of cost to the startups, and in terms of the benefit to Jazz, I mean, we're always on the lookout for new opportunities in the digital space, and we're open to working with startups. And we feel that, working with startups, gives us an opportunity to identify new areas that are under development. And because of that, for example, we recently partnered with one of our Accelerate alumni, and we're offering enterprise solutions to our corporate clients in partnership with one of the alumni startups. So we see that, there are a lot of opportunities. In some cases, shayad हमें भी वो idea नहीं होगा कि this is in this particular startup can partner with Jazz in a particular way. So we're open to all kinds of suggestions, proposals. This is how a startup wants to work with Jazz, and we basically analyze their portfolio. We analyze their product, how robust it is, whether it can be plugged into our system, because it's very important that, when we're partnering with a startup, they're able to deliver to our clients, because obviously the expectations are also sky high, right? So in terms of the technology infrastructure, that has to be, completely, I mean, it has to be flawless in order for our customers to transition onto that particular platform. So ये कुछ requirements होती हैं, but we've seen some great success stories as well, and we're open to partnering and working with a lot of other startups as well in the future.
Thank you, Ali. That sounds very promising to all the aspiring entrepreneurs out there. We do have Zan Khalid from Ignite here. Ignite, which is basically our fuel, our engine, our driving force. Zan, could you please tell us from Ignite side, how does Ignite help the startups? What are some funding opportunities that our startups get?
Thank you, Anand. And thank you, Ali, also. Ignite basically जो है वो is the main sponsor of this project. आप लोगों को पता है जैसे कि गवर्नमेंट ऑफ पाकिस्तान का विजन है डिजिटल पाकिस्तान के लिए, और फॉर दिस विजन one of the major role is played by the startups, और startup ecosystem को promote करने के लिए Ignite जो है under the sponsorship of Ministry of IT and Telecom is basically establishing the national incubation centers, and so far अभी तक हम गवर्नमेंट ऑफ पाकिस्तान मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ IT की स्पॉन्सरशिप के साथ 5 नेशनल इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर्स जो हैं वो establish हो चुके हैं. One is in Islamabad, and then rest of the 4 are in provincial capitals. और basically जो main ऑब्जेक्टिव है इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर्स का एस्टैब्लिश करने का, वो एक इनोवेशन और एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप कल्चर को प्रमोट करना है. और जो अभी तक 5 इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर्स इस्लामाबाद और 4 प्रोविंशियल कैपिटल्स में बन चुके हैं, इसका जो ओवरऑल अप्रूव्ड बजट था वो दैट वाज 2.8 बिलियन रुपीस. और ये है कि इग्नाइट बेसिकली जितने ऑपरेशनल एक्सपेंसेस हैं या जो कैपिटल एक्सपेंडिचर्स हैं इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर्स को रन करने के लिए, वो इग्नाइट उसकी फंडिंग कर रहा है. इसके अलावा जो अभी तक जो इम्पैक्ट आ चुका है इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर्स को बनाने के बाद, अगर हम देखें तो पहला इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर जो इस्लामाबाद में बना था इन 2016-17, and then rest of the 4 incubation centers were established in 2017-18. تو اگر ہم ایک اوور آل ایوریج پیریڈ دیکھیں تو 3 ایئرس یا تھوڑا سا زیادہ 3 ایئرس سے ان انکیوبیشن سینٹرز کو بنے ہوئے ٹائم ہو چکا ہے. تو اب یہ ہے کہ ان کا ایک امپیکٹ بھی سامنے آ رہا ہے انکیوبیشن سینٹرز کا. اگر ہم دیکھیں تو مور دین 100,000 جابس ابھی تک کریٹ ہو چکی ہیں آفٹر اسٹیبلشنگ اینڈ رننگ دیز انکیوبیشن سینٹرز. اور اس کے علاوہ جو ٹوٹل انویسٹمنٹ ہے دیٹ از اراؤنڈ 3.2 بلین 8.2 بلین کی انویسٹمنٹ جو ہے وہ ریز ہو چکی ہے, اور 3.2 بلین کے ریونیوز ان 5 انکیوبیشن سینٹرز جو ہیں وہ آج کی ڈیٹ تک جنریٹ کر چکے ہیں. تو اب یہ ہے کہ آفٹر اسٹیبلشنگ انکیوبیشن سینٹرز آفٹر 3 ایئرس ہمیں ایک امپیکٹ نظر آ رہا ہے جو بیسیکلی ڈیفینیٹلی ایک سوشل اکنامک گروتھ کی طرف, جو کہ ایک آبجیکٹیو بھی تھا کہ ویژن ہے گورنمنٹ آف پاکستان کا بھی کہ ڈیجیٹائزیشن کے تھرو ہمیں ایک سوشل اکنامک گروتھ کو ایکسلریٹ کرنا ہے. تو وہ ہم اس ویژن کو اچیو کرنے کی طرف جا رہے ہیں. ایک اور امپورٹنٹ چیز یہ ہے کہ ایک اور آپ کا کویشچن تھا کہ اگنائٹ جو ہے وہ اسٹارٹ اپس کو فنڈ کی ایکسیس کیسے دے رہا ہے یا گلوبل ایکسپوجر کس طرح دے رہا ہے. تو اس کے لیے ایک تو نیشنل انکیوبیشن سینٹرز جو اسٹیبلش کیے ہوئے ہیں ود ادر فیسلٹیز جو کہ ان انکیوبیشن سینٹرز میں دی جا رہی ہیں. اس کے علاوہ اگنائٹ نے ریسنٹلی اسٹارٹ اپس کے لیے ایک پروگرام اپروو کیا ہے جس کے تھرو اسٹارٹ اپس کین پارٹیسپیٹ ان دا انٹرنیشنل ایونٹس. جیسے کہ ابھی ریسنٹلی ہم نے کچھ اسٹارٹ اپس کو اسپانسر کیا تھا to participate in GITEX 2020 which was held in the Dubai this year. Unfortunately COVID کی وجہ سے اتنا پاپولیٹ یہ نہیں ہو سکا ایونٹ, لیکن اس کے باوجود ہمارے جو 3 اسٹارٹ اپس ادھر گئی ہیں تو دیٹ ور پیورلی اسپانسرڈ بائی دا اگنائٹ, اور انہوں نے وہاں پہ اس ایونٹ میں بڑا ایکٹیولی پارٹیسپیٹ کیا ہے. اور اس کے جو امپیکٹ ہے اس میں اس کی پارٹیسپیشن کا وہ بھی اب سامنے آنا شروع ہو رہی ہیں آہستہ آہستہ, کیونکہ ادھر ہمارے کچھ اسٹارٹ اپس ہیں ان کی میٹنگس وغیرہ ہوئی, انویسٹرس کے ساتھ میٹنگس ہوئی, اور یہ ہے کہ وہ ابھی چیزیں ساری پائپ لائن میں ہیں. We will soon have some impact of participation in the international events also.
Thank you,
جو ہے وہ جی thank you.
Sorry, please continue.
شاید تیسرا کویشچن جو مجھے کہا گیا تھا کہ اگنائٹ کس طرح کی فنڈنگ دے رہا ہے. بیسکلی دیر آر 3 types of source of funding. ٹھیک ہے, ون از دا فارم آف دا انکیوبیشن تھرو انکیوبیشن سینٹرز, جو کہ آپ سب لوگوں کو جو کہ بڑے اچھے طریقے سے میر نے بھی اور عباس صاحب نے بڑے اچھے طریقے سے ایکسپلین کر دیا آلریڈی. ٹھیک ہے, دوسرا جو سورس آف فنڈنگ ہے دیٹ از دا سیڈ فنڈنگ. ٹھیک ہے, سیڈ فنڈنگ میں یہ ہے کہ اگنائٹ جو ہے سیڈ فنڈنگ بھی پرووائڈ کر رہا ہے. سیڈ فنڈنگ کی کوئی لمٹ نہیں ہے. ٹھیک ہے, اور بس یہ ہے کہ اینی ون کین اپلائی فار دا سیڈ فنڈنگ اگین این آرگنائزیشن اور انڈیویجول, بٹ اگین اس کا جو ایک پروسیجر ہے اپروول کا وہ سارا اس کی ڈیٹیل ساری ہماری ویب سائٹ کے اوپر ہیں ignite.org.pk کے اوپر. اور جو امپورٹنٹ چیز یہ ہے کہ کوئی بھی پروجیکٹ اگر کوئی فنڈنگ کے لیے اپلائی کرنا چاہ رہے ہیں سیڈ فنڈنگ کے لیے, تو اس کے اندر ایک کمرشلائزیشن کا فیکٹر ضرور ہونا چاہیے اس پروجیکٹ میں. جو تیسری طرح کی فنڈنگ ہے دیٹ از بیسکلی دا گراس روٹس لیول کے اوپر ہے, جو کہ فائنل ایئر پروجیکٹس کی فنڈنگ ہے, جو کہ اگنائٹ انڈر گریڈ اسٹوڈنٹس کے جو فائنل ایئر کے اسٹوڈنٹس ہیں ان کو ایک فنڈنگ پرووائڈ کرتا ہے اور ان کے فائنل ایئر پروجیکٹس کمپلیٹ کرنے کے لیے. تو اگر ہم دیکھیں تو وہ بیسکلی دے آر دا انٹرپرینیورس ایٹ دا گراس روٹس لیول. تو ان دا فیوچر وی ول سی کہ اس جو فائنل ایئر پروجیکٹس کی فنڈنگ ہے اس کو کیسے یوٹیلائز کر کے ہم ایک کانسیپٹ جو ہے گراس روٹس لیول کے اوپر انٹرپرینیورشپ کا کریٹ کر سکتے ہیں. تو دیز آر دا 3 سورسز آف فنڈنگ. تھینک یو ویری مچ.
جی تھینک یو احسان, آپ نے بہت اچھے سے comprehensively elaborate کر دیا about the sources of funding and the opportunities that our startups get, and also the startups who are not incubated at any NIC. So for example آپ نے جیسے یہ ہماری seed funding کی بات کی and final year students کے لیے بات کی, so there's opportunity for all the entrepreneurs out there. Thank you so much, and thank you Numair for giving me the opportunity to lead this panel discussion. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Anam, Ihsan, and Ali. Such fantastic insight. So as you can see, people, when you get access to NIC, it's not just the NIC, it's not just a co-working space. You gain access to a whole range of network and opportunities at the NIC and beyond. There are potential opportunities with Ignite, there are potential opportunities with the Jazz Accelerate program. So in the interest of time, let me introduce our next panel. Our next panel is going to be moderated by Abid Gul, who's the marketing lead at the NIC. And we have on the panel a fantastic range of people. We've got Ahad Wazir, Saad Tanveer, Sundus Wahid, and Imad Rizvi. I'm going to let Abid give you a little better introduction of them. Abid, take it from here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nomer, and welcome you all to yet another exciting open house session. We have an amazing panel with us. So without any further ado, I'll introduce our power panel. So we're joined by Imad Rizvi. Imad is an organization performance coach and a serial optimist. Imad is known to migrate people from the preoccupation of doing to an expression of being. He has led important curriculum sessions. He's a great mentor, and he's a valuable part of the NIC family. Welcome, Imad, to our open house.
Thank you. Thank you.
Then we have Ahad Wazir. He is the head of investment and partnerships. He's a certified chartered accountant by profession and entrepreneur by choice. Over the past 7 years of professional and entrepreneurial experience, Ahad has a demonstrated history of turning around businesses that he has worked with. Shukriya, Ahad, aaj aane ke liye. Our third panelist is Sundus Wahid. She's leading a health tech startup by name DentiNect. The 24/7 intelligent oral health solutions platform is digitizing the Pakistani telehealth sector. It helps the dentists around the globe to engage with one another and patients at any time from anywhere. And then we have Saad Tanveer. Saad is the CEO of Industrial Vision Systems, an agri-tech startup creating a quality management system for fruits and vegetables in Pakistan. He aims to help farmers manage the input in order to maximize the quality of produce. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Saad, I'll start with you. So आपका cohort जो है वो start हुआ और उसके फौरन बाद we went into lockdown. And ज़्यादातर sessions जो है वो आपने अपने online लिए curriculum sessions हो, mentorship हो, pitch perfect हो. So how was that experience, of engaging with the NIC team virtually, and how did the NIC team help you scale up?
Okay, so as soon as we joined, ekdam se COVID hit, and we'd only been through like 2 or 3 sessions in person when we shifted to virtual sessions. And what I thought initially was, yaar, we're done. This is not going to work out. But the way the NIC team has managed it, and the way the mentors, the trainers, everyone's taken this, it's been amazing. I think we've learned more through virtual sessions than we would have in person even. It's been amazing. And the team, they are available 24/7. I've had midnight conversations with Zan, with Sanya, trying to fix our problems. And everyone's been available. Agar main wahan par hota, to it might have been like 9 to 5 type situation. But at the end of the day, going virtual has actually, I think, been better for us.
Great. Sundus, over to you. Can you hear me, Sundus? Are you with us, Sundus? Okay, so I believe Sundus is having some connectivity issues. Imad, so you've been, you've led a lot of curriculum sessions, and you've been a part of the NIC, the growing community of startups. So आपकी journey कैसी थी startups के साथ? It's a roller coaster ride. किस तरह आपने उनको देखा grow करते हुए, and how were your sessions, the pitch perfect sessions? So tell us about that.
Well, that will take 5 minutes in itself, but very quickly, I just want to thank you, Abid. I want to thank Nomer and for the NIC for inviting me. I'm really honored and humbled by that. I'm also very honored that I get not only to, well, I don't see all of you physically, but you get to see me, and I hope I can impart some wisdom. Now, I know I only have about 5 minutes, so I'll be as succinct as possible. I'm known that I fast forward, or it sounds like that I fast forward when I speak. So forgive me if I'm speaking too fast. However, I believe this is being recorded, so you can certainly go back to it at another time and capture the points. But if you do have a paper and pen, I think it would be very, very important. See, when I entered the entrepreneurial journey, it was almost like a badge of honor for me. And the idea of being an entrepreneur without becoming one I think it felt really, really cool. And I know a lot of people that really want to be an entrepreneur, but for the wrong reason, unfortunately. But I know everyone here have already embarked on this journey, and they realize that it's not only being your own boss. It's not only that we get to take as many vacations as we like. We realize that this is hard work and a lot of effort going into the ideas that you want to bring into fruition to help this world become a better place. So I really am impressed by everyone that does embark on this journey, realize how difficult it is, but realizing the amount of potential that it has. So, being an entrepreneur, we all like to think for ourselves that we are going to go at it alone. We like to realize that we have the great idea that's going to just change the world. And though those aspects are true, I don't believe in this term called self-made. I firmly believe that there are many aspects to life where that have contributed towards the growth and the success and in fact the sustainability of the business that you're actually pushing forward. So self-made, yes, you are leading the engine. However, there are a lot of pieces of the puzzle that are supporting you along the way should you seek it. So for me as an entrepreneur, when I did embark on this journey, mentoring was a very new concept for me. I was meeting a lot of people, a lot of great-minded people, and people that I wanted to continuously engage myself with. But I also very quickly realized that trying to get everybody's time all the time really wasn't working for me, and it wasn't working for those mentors. You can certainly get a lot of great advice, a lot of great opinions on certain subjects from a lot of great people. So we have two. We have Zohair Saab and Parvez Saab online too. Great mentors, yes. But I also want to encourage that when it comes to this idea of mentorship, I want to share with you my story and what's worked for me. So hopefully it can help you in encouraging, or sort of help encourage you to find the right person that fits your ideology as far as moving forward is concerned. Because we can always have conversations with a lot of people. So for me, and I jotted a couple of these points down, what I really wanted to find was a mentor. And you've heard this old adage saying that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend most of your time with. And during that time, the 5 people involved my children, my wife, and I love them dearly. But I have to say that that wasn't helping me grow my business from anywhere. So I had to really be focused in terms of, okay, who would I be spending most of my time with on a consistent basis that will help me grow? So the lens that I took moving forward is, who do I want to be in a certain period of time? So if you're looking at 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, what is that ideal self? And then start looking for people who sort of fit that ideology, and I start engaging with them. We have to respect everybody else's time. And if we have, I think there's 70 people on board here, there's about 70 people here. So for example, can Zohair Saab, for example, or Parvez Saab give 70 people all of their time, all of their wisdom all of the time? It's practically impossible. But when we look at mentoring, don't just look for people who are in these positions, but I want you to look for people who encompass what it is that you are seeking, be it on a personal level or be it on a professional level. And what I've come to discover is I've built great relationships that are consistently ongoing, that have enabled me to better myself personally and also help my business grow. Because it's difficult to try and go at it alone when you don't realize where it is you're exactly going. We have this vision, we have this picture, but ultimately how we get there is the support of great mentors, great colleagues, great team members that you all have, and their support will get you, I believe, where you need to be. So if you can jot these things down, I've got a couple of points that definitely has worked for me and has worked for a lot of people that I've coached in my journey. And by the way, I just want to express in the introduction, thank you again for that. But see, for me, I really have a passion for people. I have a passion for the potential that people have. So I work with high potential individuals and help them realize their leadership abilities. So when I started to take this idea, I wanted to look for people who could mentor me, who could guide me, who could support me on my journey, but who were very like-minded. So I looked at it not only from a business lens, I also looked at it from a characteristic from a personal lens as well. What kind of individual do I want to become? And they say your network is your net worth. And what that means is if you start engaging yourself with the right-minded people, then you automatically start to gravitate towards that. You start to be that in your being. So that's why when I refer to this idea of migrating people from the preoccupation of doing, which is in your business, to an expression of being, is be in your business. That's exactly what I mean. So a couple of points when it comes to finding the right mentor is finding them on a, who matches your personality that you wish to embody. Who matches the kind of business that you're leading. Now, because I'm a coach, I wanted to find the right coach that could support me as I continue to establish my business. So Alhamdulillah, I've got a couple of coaches. One coach who doesn't know me personally yet, but someone who I've really embraced was online. So his name is Simon Sinek, and he's one of my massive gurus. So I see him as a mentor. Who doesn't know him? But he's somebody who I gravitate towards because of his personality and because of his acumen. So a couple of things I want you to write down, and I'll try and be as succinct and as slow as possible. And I've got these down for myself as well. When it comes to your mentor, anyone that you're finding, there's 3 points that you have to consider. Number one, you have to consider the experience that they have. They may not be in the industry that you're in, but if they're in alignment with what kind of experience you're hoping to gain, then look for somebody within that realm. The second thing is a passion. Do they have a passion for mentoring? They may be great at what they do, but if they don't really have a passion for mentoring, then they may not be the right person for you. And then the other thing is communication skills. Not so much the language in terms of English, Urdu, Chinese, what have you, but really the communication in terms of the kind of language that resonates with you, and vice versa, of course, because then you're really immersed in building the foundation of a great relationship. So a couple of other points when it comes to mentoring that I jotted down. I think when you're building the relationship of this sort of this mentoring relationship, you've got to think about mutual goals, that the benefit of mentoring isn't just for you. The benefit of mentoring should also be for the individual that is being mentored by you, because they want to see you grow. And if they don't see any movement, then why is it that they would want to continue on this journey with you? The second thing is, before you even speak to a mentor, you've got to be very, very clear of what your short-term and your long-term goals are. And what I mean by that is, where is it that you want to go, and expressing to the individual that's how you're going to help them. And that's the value that they can add. And then you can have a track record in terms of the progress that you are making. Then the other thing is the duration. Now, the mentors that I have, that I connect with, I am committed and they are committed to meeting once a month. So for me, that works. For them, that works. Yes, it'd be great to meet with them consistently, but we've got to make some effort for ourselves. So what worked for us, I believe, is once a month that we meet, but we go in with an agenda of what needs to be discussed and how we can go about leaving that. The other thing that I want to share is confidentiality. Now, as a coach, I certainly abide by this, but I think in a mentoring relationship as well, confidentiality is key. And if both parties can agree to being confidential in this environment, then you're able to be fearless, be open, be transparent with what's being shared, so that way you can address all of the barriers that may be coming in the way. And then evaluations. I feel this is an extremely beneficial one, because any great mentor is also there to learn. Nobody's perfect. We have this ability to strive for perfection, being God's greatest creation, but we have this ability to continuously learn to no end. And a great mentor is someone who is open to feedback. And there's a great quote that I posted up the other day on Instagram, and it says, the difference between feedback and criticism is the way you hear it. And if you're open-minded to the words that are being expressed, you've got to take that and move on forward. So when I talk about evaluations, it's feedback to and from. So I hope these points were captured. And when it comes to identifying the right mentor for you, yes, you can learn from a lot of people. However, when it comes to the right mentor that is consistently with you by your side, then there's no place like the NIC, the National Incubation Center. When I experienced coming or working with them and met a couple of cohorts, You have mentors not only within the National Incubation Center, they'll engage you with the right people, and then your peers amongst the group that you're working with are there to support you as well. So definitely avail it. You're not at this alone. I want you to recognize that you are there. Yes, like I think somebody mentioned that this is not just a free space, and free is great when you have it, but I want you to value the time, the space, the energy of everyone around you. Because if you don't do it, you will lose. So my humble request to all of you is take this with a pinch of salt. You are already on your journey to creating greater impact in Pakistan and around the world, inshallah. And I'm there, everybody else is there, and I look forward to learning from all of you as well one day.
Thank you so much, Imad, for sharing these pearls of wisdoms with us. And I hope some people have jotted down, what you have discussed. And if the people who are watching, you haven't, we'll be posting this on YouTube as well. So, you can watch this video again. And Imad, I was watching one of Simon Sinek's video, and he basically said that mentorship is like friendship, right? It's an evolutionary process. You have to put a lot of work when it comes to mentorship. So, thank you so much once again, for sharing all your insights with us. I'll talk to now Ahad. How are you on this fine evening?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Amazing. So Ahad, investment is one of the most critical aspects for startups, right? Especially when they are looking to scale up. So how does NIC help in connecting the startups with investors? And secondly, what is the criteria of connecting them with angels and VCs?
So, it is critical for some, while it is not for others. I'd say that's the case mostly. But for those that are investment-heavy startups and need a lot of cash injected into them, what we do is we connect them with the right VCs. So what we do initially is we phase them out into different, I'd say, circles where we see the startups that are grouped as angels, startups that would be introduced into VCs that would do a small round, and then there's startups that would do a seed or a Series A. So that's how we categorize them internally at the NIC. Once a startup is incubated, then what we do is a review of their startups within to see what kind of financial management techniques are being used, what are the kind of tools that are being adopted by the startup, what are the best international practices. And if they are according to that, so that forms the basis of even our curriculum within the NIC, which is a 4-day long boot camp. So it's mostly where startups understand how finance works. So what is a debit even, and what is a credit, and why is it even important for them to start recording transactions from day one. So that's the kind of thing that we look at. Apart from that, mostly what we do is we connect them then to start those investors that are or have an investment thesis that is very relatable to the startup at hand. We fortunately or unfortunately don't have a lot of angel investors in Pakistan that are willing to invest into the tech ecosystem right now, but we have seen a really positive trends towards this. And are hopeful that there is going to be a lot of angel activity happening around in the coming 2021 and 2022, for as they will form a pipeline for the later stage VCs to come in and invest into their rounds. So yeah, I hope I answered your question.
So I have seen startups picking your brain and asking you all sorts of questions on how to develop their projections and build that investor pitch deck. So what is your role? I've seen you mentor and coach some of startups as well. So how do you help them? We have our investment roundtables, we have our national investor summits as well. So how do you personally help startups to basically get ready for that investor pitch?
Yeah, so I mean, to be honest, I don't really act as a mentor. I am always being part of also being a mentee. I get to learn a lot from my startups. I mean, there are things that I mostly just overlook and don't even think about. And then they come up with these business plans to me, and I am amazed at how good that they are. What happens is at the same time, we do mentor them, and there are startups that would and are really great at some things, but are not really good with the others. And that's where our role comes in. So from making their financial projections, even from doing it from the scratch, looking at what kind of budgets, budgetary financial analysis that they need to create, and then do a performance measurement techniques with them, sort of to track their own progress, understand how KPIs are built within the organization, because financial projections, I'd say, form the backbone of any company. That's where you know how much is it that I need to spend, what are the kind of targets that the sales guys need to achieve, what is it that the marketing needs to do. So I mean, everything is derived from there. That's what derives the business. Helps us understand and lets us also go with them and understand the different challenges that they would have to face when having a business model or whatever startup that they're running. This is also addressed within our curriculum, but then we are assigned as mentors to them. What we also that we do is we help them in understanding term sheets and how term sheets are negotiated, which forms a basis of us then introducing them to those prospective angels or VCs. That's where they understand what if they need to bring on, so for example, commitment letters, revenue commitment letters, which was the case with Saad, to raise on investments, because that's the kind of I'd say request was from the angel. He was willing to invest, but all he wanted to see was if he even has prospective clients for him. So I mean, doing all of that, creating all of those documents for them, guiding them towards the end, is something that we look at, and we try to do it as perfectly as possible. We try to also, it's mostly relationship based. So mentorship was a very huge word for me initially when I got into the tech ecosystem, but that I understood that there are people out there that are like-minded and want to give back to the community, or want to give back their knowledge, not as teachers, but as people that are your friends and want to support you through the process. So yeah, and that's what we try to do as well with some of the sessions that we do with investors. So we bring in these investors in hopes that our startups will be trained by a VC that is investing, and be trained by them and form that relationship with that VC, so that because it's mostly the team that the investor looks at. So this helps us create those personal connections for them, so that they can later on invest and be even mentored from them.
Thank you, Ahad. Thank you for all your service and sharing your insights, and hoping to have some more investments coming the NIC way in 2021. Sundas, coming to you. So can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I believe, Sundas, you're driving, and that shows your commitment to the NIC, despite the fact that you're on your way. You're still giving us the time. So
no. I'm sitting at the back, and the driver is driving.
Okay. So thank you for your time.
I'm sitting at the back. I'm not driving and watching my mobile.
I hope
the driver is driving, and that's why
you would like it if you were driving and talking to us. So Sundas, you've been a part of the NIC for quite some time now. You're also part of the 7th cohort, and you went through the whole program as well. I've seen your pitches, and I've seen the way you improved over the past 1 year. So very specific question. What are the 3 things you've learned from the NIC?
Number 1, I learned progress. Number 2, I learned to work in a team working environment. And number 3, I learned to the business. I mean, I don't have a business background. So teamwork, progress, and learning in 360 degrees. Yes, these 3 things.
And also, you have a health tech startup, right? So tell us about the potential in the health tech space, and also what is your message to the startups who are working in the healthcare industry and want to apply to the NIC program? So what's your message for them, and also the potential in the health tech space?
Okay, after COVID-19, everything was tipped around health, and it would be not very wise if systems are not transitioning into a digitized healthcare system, let it be records or let it be data or let it be diagnostics. So my plain message is that there are a lot of challenges and it's not a smooth road. But the only way to survive it or is to go uphill is that you be quick, manage your time and learn from your mistakes as soon as possible, save your time as much as you can, connect with the right people, and then just pivot around in 120 miles per hour speed as soon as you learn about your pitfalls or your mistakes. So the hardest part is not building a product. Functionality of the product is very hard, and then at the same time,
since you're breaking up a little bit,
with and customers, and that is where and giving up is not an option. So be realistic. Passion should be there, but one should also be very realistic and see how things are going to work for them. Number two.
So can you turn off your video?
I just lost you in between. Is that okay? Was I? Hello?
Come again? So I believe Sundar is still facing some issue with the internet. Let's move on to Saad. So Saad, my final question about the agri-tech space, right? So, we've seen a lot of in agri-tech in the past couple of years. So, what is your message to the startups who are working in the agri-tech space? What will you advise them, especially those who are looking forward and applying to the NIC?
So agri-tech is one of the toughest spaces to be in right now. It's really tough to find people who are motivated enough to invest in agri-tech. And it takes up a lot of your time to actually convince people that it is a worthwhile place. But believe you me, this is the place that can change things for the better greatly. We are so far behind everyone else in the world that there's a massive potential to make change, to improve things, especially for the farmers. Anyone who's actually working in this, go ahead with it, keep working on it. थोड़ा मारते रहें, कभी ना कभी कील अंदर चला जाएगा. That's the way it's supposed to be, and that's the way we're doing it.
I believe ये सबसे मेरा से बेहतरीन मैसेज है कि थोड़ा मारते रहे इंशाल्लाह काम हो जाएगा. So thank you so much to all of you amazing people, Imad, Ahad, Saad, Sundar. We talked about the importance of mentorship, and we touched upon why investment is important and the criteria to apply to certain programs, and also startups, they share their experience and also the potential in their specific domain. So thank you so much once again. Inshallah, we'll team up with you in the future as well. Over to you, Nomer.
Inshallah. Wow, thank you. Fantastic panel. Wow, I really enjoyed that. So just in the interest of keeping with time, even though we're still a bit over, that's okay because it's been so valuable. I hope it has been for you. And next, I'd like to introduce you to Zan Khalid. Zan is one of the great minds here at the NIC. He is a community manager, but so much more than that. You can pretty much go to him for anything. Zan will be leading you through the form, and if you do want to email him afterwards, do note down his email address. It's right there, zan@teamup.pk. So Zan, over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Nomer, and thank you to everyone who's joined in. So we look forward to seeing all of your applications before the 31st of January, hopefully, because that's the deadline. Let me just walk you through our application. In case there are any questions, then you can send them in the question and answer session. Right. So I'm assuming my screen is now visible. So the idea behind this form was to make it as easy for all of you to fill as possible, all the while getting us all of the information that we need to be able to determine whether or not you guys can proceed to the next round or not. So let's just walk through the application. Personal information, ye to aapko padh leni chahiye. The idea, right? So this is where most of what we're asking is located. So what is the problem you're trying to solve? Firstly, what category does your startup fall in? Ye aap kar lein, theek hai? And what is the problem you're trying to solve? Just be as clear about the problem as possible. It would help if you can include the size and scale of the problem. For instance, agar Saad agri-tech problem solve kar raha, so that caters to a lot of people as compared to someone who has a niche product, right? So apne problem ko clearly identify kare taaki sab जो भी आपकी application वेट कर रहे हैं उन्हें समझ आ जाए और so all of this has to be a logical story. ठीक है? As entrepreneurs, storytelling will be a very important part of everything that you do. So इसमें भी थोड़ा सा डालें, सोचें. It's important that you do not fill this in one go. You have to have multiple iterations for the answers of each of these questions so that they improve every time you work on it. ठीक है? How will you solve the problem? आपने अपना solution पूरी तरह describe करना है. आपने हमें बताना है कि जो problem है, जो उसका scale है, वो आपका startup किस तरह address कर रहा है. Very, very clearly, very, very succinctly. We've had applications accepted जिसमें लोगों ने इन 2 सवालों में एक sentence लिखा हुआ. Right, but उस sentence के हर लफ्ज की इतनी value थी कि बस वो आपने पढ़ना था, and anybody who understands what you're trying to do will understand what you're trying to do, and I assure you we do understand what you're trying to do. Unique selling proposition होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. We need to know that you understand your competitors. We need to know that you are setting yourself aside. You're different. You're different, which will allow for you to it'll increase the chances of you succeeding if you have a unique selling proposition. अगर आप दूसरी फूड पैंडा ही बना देंगे और आप भी फूड पैंडा, तो फिर मतलब उसका भी उससे हमें कोई फायदा नहीं है, आपको भी कोई फायदा नहीं है, by the way. So if you don't have a unique selling proposition, think of one before you send in the application. Existing products, we do so as everybody else mentioned, this is going to be an accelerated cohort, which is why we will prefer startups who have actually done some groundwork, who've laid down the basis of their startup, जिन्होंने थोड़ा बहुत काम किया हो. सिर्फ idea की basis पे it is very rare that we accept startups, and idea की basis पे सिर्फ either the idea has to be really, really good, or the founders have to be really, really solid. They should be people who have had or who can make a case for themselves and tell us how they've been successful before, and with a new idea they can be successful again. So in the best case scenario, we have a combination of the two. ठीक है? पिच टेक आप लोगों का डालना थोड़ा सा ज़रूरी है, थोड़ा सा नहीं, इनफैक्ट बहुत ज़रूरी है, कंपल्सरी है, पिच टेक होना बहुत ज़रूरी है. बिकॉज जिस स्टेज पे आप लोग आ रहे हैं, जो हमने पूरा प्रोसेस आपको अंडरटेक करवाना है, उसके अंदर पिच टेक इज गोइंग टू बी रियली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. योर एबिलिटी टू एक्सप्लेन वट एवर यूर डूइंग in a manner that is catered to the audience is one of the very key skills that you need to have. If you don't have it, we'll make sure we try to inculcate all of what we can in the 6 months that you'll be here. So pitch deck में आपको नीचे हमने include कर दिया है problem solution. ये बस framework follow कर लें. 8 to 10 slides से ज़्यादा कोई भी slide deck नहीं होना चाहिए. So जिसमें keep this in mind. Framework आपको सामने दिया हुआ है. If you go to the application, you'll be able to see कि यहाँ पे उसके अंदर क्या-क्या include करना. Right? Excuse me. This is once again very straightforward. So how many members? What's important for us to know is the experience and background of the team members. So if, let's say, you are a bunch of doctors who want to build a product for architecture, right? So ये दोनों और doctors हैं, तो हम आपको mathematical कुछ कर रहे हैं, which, as everybody knows, doctors को ज़्यादा maths तो नहीं आती होती. So that's a bad case scenario. On the other hand, if you're an engineer, a software engineer, computer sciences आपने पढ़ी हुई है और आप artificial intelligence के ऊपर कुछ बनाना चाह रहे हैं, that makes a lot of sense. So this is where you can really set yourself aside by showing us the caliber of your team. टीम बहुत जरूरी है स्टार्टअप के लिए. इवन छोटी से छोटी चीज, आप इन्वेस्टर्स के पास जाएंगे, इन्वेस्टर के सामने जाके सिर्फ फाउंडर अगर डिस्कशन कर रहा होगा इन्वेस्टर के साथ एंड टीम मेंबर्स नहीं बोल रहे होंगे, then that is a bad case for you. It is a bad case scenario. People will look down upon you and your startup if all of your teammates do not have a certain caliber or the ability and the experience to actually implement what you want to implement. ठीक है? तो इस पे भी थोड़ा सा ध्यान दें. अगर आपका कोई टीम मेंबर एक्सेप्शनल है या वो बहुत रेलेवेंट है, तो उसे उठाएं, जरा सामने लेके आएं ताकि वो पॉप आउट करे, so that it'll be easier for us to shortlist. Once again, like I said, जो आपकी traction वगैरह है and whatever you've done with regards to your startup is very important to us. Okay, you need to, ideally the answer to this question will be yes. Have you validated your market? If it's no, कोई बात नहीं, आप फिर भी apply कर लें. We'll see where we can we can do about that, because certain startups के prototypes complete होते हैं, MVP बना हुआ होता है, and sort of market nobody's really paid them अभी तक. So it's if there's a fine margin या बहुत करीब है उससे, तो वो फिर ठीक है आप करें. You must still apply regardless. Market sizing, you should know आपकी total addressable market क्या है, and you should know कि आपका scale क्या है. For instance, आप अगर जैसा सुंदस अगर dentist को target कर रही हैं, if she has every single dentist in Pakistan on her portal, then that means she's addressed her total addressable market. So, and for her to determine कि उनकी total addressable market क्या है, is the sum of the number of all the dentists जो पाकिस्तान में exist करते हैं. So let's assume 100, and then that is her total market. So इसके ऊपर भी थोड़ी सी research कर लें. If you cite numbers, मतलब हवाई फायर ना करें, आप बता दें हमें कि आपने numbers कहाँ से retrieve किए हैं. For instance, सुंदस का example लेके DentiNet का would be the Pakistan Medical and Dental Council. That might not be true, but that just gives you an example of किस तरह की resources आप cite कर सकते हैं to add legitimacy to the numbers that you give us. Your go-to-market strategy, we do want to know how you will, or rather how you plan on selling whatever you're making. So we need a go-to-market plan. If you don't have one right now, we will obviously be working with you very, very closely to make it with you. But uske alawa, you should have a general idea of how you will be selling what you want to sell. Competitors ko list down karna zaruri hai, because once again, wohi baat aa gayi hai ki you have to do enough market research to be able to do whatever you want to do. फिर से ये आ गया, and who do you sell to? Revenue model में we're not asking you for exact financials. अभी किसी ने question भी पूछा होता है, exact financials होना जरूरी नहीं है at this stage, वो हम बाद में डिटेल में आपके साथ बना देंगे. What we do need to know, however, are the sources of revenue. कि आपके कहाँ से पैसे कहाँ से आएंगे, आप sustain कैसे करेंगे अपना startup. So just the revenue streams. उसके अलावा business model पे आप अगर if you do have the ability to expand on the business model, then that traction पे आ जाते हैं. Once again, very simple. इसमें सिर्फ एक ही, what is the traction of your startup to date? You need to tell us आपके customers कितने आए हैं, how much you sold in or how much revenue you've made. Any number that you want to share with us that shows us that you have made certain progress with your startup it will help us go through your application. General is just really very general. आपको NIC से क्या चाहिए? Have you ever been part of the incubator? And if selected, will you be able to attend the entirety of the program? So, like I said, we've tried to make it as simple for you as possible. If you still do not have, if you have any questions, concerns, confusions at all, मेरा email address आप सबके पास है. It's zan@teamup.pk, ZAIN@teamup.pk, TEAMUP.pk. Drop me an email and we can carry on the discussion from there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Zan, for that thorough look at the form. I hope there's no confusion left, but in case there is, it's Q&A time. So I'm going to ask Sherry to take us through some of the questions, and we're all here. Let's answer them. All right, Sherry.
Thank you so much, Numair. I think first of all, I would like to say it was a very interesting session. I hope everyone in the audience had fun as well, knowing what we offer. And thank you so much to Zan and Numair as well for keeping everyone updated with so many questions and answers. That was wonderful. But my first question is from Faiz. And I'll ask from Zan. Can we register multiple projects at the same time if we do need to submit separate applications, or should we just mention one?
So आप ये देखें ना, if let's assume I go through all your applications. Abid ने application submit कराई भी है, startup A, startup B, startup C, startup D. That does not reflect well on you as an entrepreneur. So I would highly recommend not doing that. एक ID के साथ apply करें, उसी के साथ through and through जाएं. ज़्यादा होंगे तो जितने ज़्यादा आप ideas pitch करेंगे, उतने ही ज़्यादा आपके chances हैं reject होने के.
Thank you so much, Zan. Second question, I think, Numair, I think you're more suitable for that. How are you connecting the startups with big brands such as MNCs
Right. So in addition to the fact that we have visits from a profound group of people. I mean, some of the people who have graced the NIC include Mir Ibrahim Rahman, CEO Geo, Tariq Banouri, Chairman HEC, Inamur Rahman, CEO Dawood Hercules. We have people from abroad, people from all the top organizations in Pakistan visiting us. In addition to that, they're part of our network, our community. These are people who, just like us, want to further the startup ecosystem in Pakistan, and they trust us to direct them to startups that are worth meeting and talking to and considering. So that's what we do. They're constantly in touch with us, and virtually we get you in touch with the people who our community team assesses your startup and assesses the pool of mentors and network that we have and says, hey, this would be a fantastic connect. I think it's going to be mutually beneficial. Boom, it happens. Right, Zan?
Yeah, exactly. So just to add to that, anybody who wants anything to do with technology inevitably lands at the NIC, जहाँ पे हमारे पास सारे startups भी हमारे पास हैं, वो लोग भी हमारे पास आते हैं. What we do is essentially connect the two, वो जहाँ पे synergy exist करती है.
Thank you so much, guys. Next question, I think Abid Gul might be more suitable for this one. Does NIC have a solopreneur incubated already?
अच्छा, पास्ट में काफ़ी इस तरह के स्टार्टअप्स आए हैं जिसके सोल फाउंडर्स थे, बट विल हाईली इनकरेज कि लुक फॉर अ को फाउंडर, बिकॉज you always work with team, and we as our name suggests, we encourage teaming up with different people, with different organization, different institutions. So I'll recommend और ज़्यादा success factor भी जो है वो आपका increase हो जाता है when you're working with a co-founder. Research shows that. So you can apply with a sole founder, but we'll encourage you have a co-founder with you as well. It complement your skill level as well. अगर आपकी technical skills अच्छी हैं, so you should have a co-founder जो कि बिल्कुल ही complement करे अपने skill level को, opposite skill level हो उसका. So look for a co-founder. If not, फिर भी आप apply कर लें, कोई issue नहीं.
But Zan, I believe there's a limit to the team members, right? Minimum team members.
Yeah. So we would like if you have at least 3 team members, including yourself. So Numair, Abid, and I could be a startup. So आप अकेले apply कर लें, ठीक है? You can be the sole founder. So if Numair is the only founder, we can be his employees, and we would still make a team of 3. So minimum 3 की team जो है वो actually हम prefer भी करते हैं और हम legally obligated भी हैं to have all our startups have at least 3 members. So वो mind में रखिएगा. And वो इस तरह भी count हो सकता है कि अगर आप solopreneur हैं और आपने developer freelancer hire किया है और उसे project के बाद आपने कहा है bye bye, तो that still counts as a teammate. So minimum 3. Yeah.
I think Zain आप बहुत ज़्यादा ही frequently answer करते जा रहे हैं हर चीज़ के बारे में. इस पे भी एक और सवाल आया आपके लिए ही है. What are the services you have given to startups in raising round, like other than just connecting them with the investors? I know आप नहीं है तो इसलिए आपसे ही पूछ रहा हूँ.
बिल्कुल सही है, कोई बात नहीं. हम आपकी pitch, so Ahad covered a lot of this information in his talk, which is why we didn't answer these questions other. But we make sure your pitch is up to the mark. We make sure आपके जो financials हैं वो उसी तरह होंगे हैं जिस तरह investors देखना चाह रहे हैं. We make sure that the entire picture that your numbers are giving to anybody who is putting in their own money is the kind of picture they want to see. ठीक है, उसके अंदर बहुत ज़्यादा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड चीज़ें आ जाती हैं, डिफरेंट वैल्यूएशन मॉडल्स आ जाते हैं, आपके फीजिबिलिटीज़ बनाने के 10 तरीके हैं, वैल्यूएशन मॉडल्स इतने ज़्यादा हैं, बहुत सारी हम चीज़ें देखते हैं. वी मेक श्योर एसेंशियली कि नंबर 1 फ्रॉम द डे दैट यू एंटर, वी मेक श्योर आपकी जो बुक्स हैं आर इन ऑर्डर, बिकॉज अगर आप फंड्स रेज करने जा रहे हैं एंड यू start building your books, so that is really not going to work out very well for you. So हम शुरू से ही आपकी books पहले सही करवाते हैं, आपकी pitch ठीक करवाते हैं, आपको हम interact कराते हैं. So every week we have a pitch perfect, which is our weekly pitching competition, जहाँ पे the judges that we have are of the same caliber as the investors that you will inevitably be pitching to, investors and or stakeholders. ठीक है, तो वो जो सवाल आपसे पूछते हैं वो वही सवाल है जो कि एक इन्वेस्टर ने पूछना है जो कि आपको पैसे देगा. So those are essentially mock investor pitches. We can put you in Pitch Perfect every week if you want to, अगर आपने practice करनी है. And उसके अलावा investment में फिर a lot of angel investors reach out to us. Just to give you an example, in the past week I've been contacted by 3 separate people जिनके ticket sizes varying है. एक का $500,000 है, एक का $50,000 है, एक का $100,000 है. But all of them give us their areas of interest, right? Because agar main personally, if you're talking about me as a person, I would want to invest in, say, gaming alone. It doesn't matter to me kaun sa kitna scalable hai, kaun kya hai. Maine gaming mein paise dalne hai, to maine gaming mein paise dalna hai. So usse aapas mein connect karana and paying a lot of attention to detail in terms of what the startup has to offer and what the investor wants, and just getting both of them together is what we do. I hope that answers the question. Had Aad been here, he would have been able to go into a lot more detail, but this is just the surface level information that I have at this point.
Thank you so much. And another question for you. It's by Muhammad Ahmed. He has 2 questions. Yeah. How do you define that the submission is in ideation stage or has done some work, or do we need to have some profits made? And the second question is, can the pitch deck be in a video format?
So to answer the first question, आप जो अपनी application पे अपनी stage बताएंगे उससे हम determine करेंगे कि आप whether ideation stage पे हैं कि आपने MVP बनाया हुआ है. If you have an MVP, you will inevitably have a link for it जो कि आप हमारे साथ share करेंगे, तो आपकी application review करते हुए we will be going through all of the material that you send us. So I mean it's not really very difficult to determine कि कौन सा ideation stage startup है और कौन सा actually कुछ कर चुका है based on our application that we just walked through. So if you fill that application completely, and if we get to see your application, that means you filled it completely. If you fill it completely, we will know whether you're an ideation stage startup or not. दूसरा सवाल क्या था शेरी?
Pitch deck के बारे में. Can they share it in a video format?
That's fine. That's fine. But you will need a slide deck for your round of interviews. So if you get selected, once you apply, if you get selected, तो उसके बाद आपके interviews होंगे. Interviews में आपको pitch deck चाहिए होगा because you have to present for 5 minutes in front of a panel of judges, and you can't do that with a video. Or at least we prefer कि आप मतलब, I mean, if any of you were sitting in a panel और आपके सामने एक entrepreneur है who's saying मैं ये कर दूंगा, वो कर दूंगा, ये बना दूंगा, ये कर दूंगा, and then he just plays a video, that doesn't really come off very nice. So while it may be accepted at some level, we do not prefer it, and we do not prefer it for your sake.
I'm going to take the next question myself. Heather Tariq has asked, how is Jazz Accelerate helping reach masses, and what is the help you get from Jazz? So Jazz has set up a usability lab here at the facility, which is one of a kind. There are very few of them in the country, where there's a one-way mirror. On one side, you're sitting, and on the other side, your users are sitting. They're using your application or your product, and you get to see their reaction on a human basis, but there's also technology measuring and gauging their interaction with your product. So it's very sophisticated. That's just one of the things. There's the Jazz team that provides you all kinds of help. We're always organizing meetings with our startups, with the people at the Jazz headquarters, who are more than happy to meet with you and guide you in their specific domain, of which they're oftentimes some of the best experts in the country. There's also Jazz Cash, and we do provide Jazz Cash integration. Anything I'm missing? There's the Jazz Accelerate program. So if you attain a certain level of greatness with your startup, then there is the possibility that you can get into the acceleration program and go even further. Let's just take 1 or 2 more questions and wrap it up. This Kuruthalan has said that she might not be able to apply now, but she does want to apply later. Kuruthalan, yes, we are. It is biannually. And our next incubation cycle will be open sometime later this year. I can't confirm the date right now. Yeah, Zan, can we confirm a month?
Yeah. Not right now.
All right. There are a couple of questions here about what kind of industries you can apply in, pretty much any industry. There's some questions that you have a technology product that's catering to a number of industries. So you're going to have to narrow it down for your application. Just pick your core focus. Because in your business, you'll want to have one anyway. And when you get in, then we'll help you figure out what other industries and verticals to focus on anyway. Anything else that stands out? I think it's 5:35. So
one question by Samina Qureshi. Are social entrepreneurship projects encouraged? So, I mean, we have a lot of startups जिसका social impact की तरफ जो है वो है रुझान है. So I believe as long as it has a business component, correct me if I'm wrong, Zan, as long as if if you are generating revenues, if you have a business element connected to it, you can always apply with and we would actually encourage startups with who are actually making a social impact.
Yeah. So being a social enterprise would imply that you do have a business component, which is what we prefer, like Abid said. If you are completely a non-profit, or तो वो फिर हमारे लिए मुश्किल हो जाता है थोड़ा सा, because we have to kickstart the economy as well with this program that we're running.
Social and economic impact, right, guys?
Also, we have great opportunities for social impact startups as well.
So guys, you heard it from us. If you do have more questions, our email addresses have been shared. In the interest of time, we cannot continue. There have been so many questions. Thank you so much, everyone, for your interest, for your questions. If something was not answered, maybe you missed out a bit of the early portion of the video, so do tune in. We're going to share it on YouTube, and this is on Zoom, so you will get an email by tomorrow, which will have the link to the YouTube video. So don't worry about that. Apply, guys, apply. If you're from a marginalized community, if you're a woman, we push you even more to apply, because you're the ones who are really going to change, and take Pakistan to the next level, right? So thank you everyone for joining in today. It was such a pleasure to be here with you to share all this information with you. And we hope to see your applications, and we hope to see you soon at the NIC. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Love is.
Take care, guys. Love is.